when we speak to the institutions in which we are relating to him, protective services, these are key institutions, protective services and nurses, to the, I call it national security and the welfare of the country. And if these workers are not treated or made to believe that they are important, not just because of what they do, but because of what it means to the country, the security of the country, the health of the country, then we are going to have, or I would hate to think that it would happen, but certainly if we see that the same level of motivation and commitment and dedication does not emanate or reflect itself, then we have to ask ourselves some serious question: where are we falling short? And because of what has been presented, I believe that the media has a responsibility to ensure that this type of information is shared as widely as possible, not to put pressure, but to bring to the public's attention the severity of the problem that we are facing when it comes to talk about labor productivity, labor management issues. This is central. People remuneration, the sacrifice that they make, and then not to be given the compensation. Workers cannot feel comfortable giving 100% they're on the pay, but seeing other sectors of the society booming, some that are not necessarily as important to the country's safety, security, health, and welfare. And we have to ask ourselves the questions: where do our priorities lie? Are we about empowering our workers? Are we about uplifting our workers? Are we about giving them reasonable assurances that their interest and welfare is being attended? Or are we giving them just what I call promises and hope in the future? But you live today, you're not living tomorrow. So you have to pave the road now so we can have a smoother ride tomorrow. And we have to put that into context alongside what the president would have said. I will not take away from what he said, but for the purpose of getting to understand the seriousness that goes with this, that we are trying to get into.
And I want to. Before you go on, though, I'm very surprised that these people, this is the first, meaning right now, these people that are not working before getting other benefit, for getting the extra benefit.
Mr. Phillips, the president, is a personal officer, and I would give him the benefit in speaking to that.
Okay, I just want to add that, and I think that we all can agree, because especially for you media, and you must ask yourself this question: how often do you hear protective services and nurses stand up and say, "Hey, pay us some attention"? It's not too often. And our plea, because they are our members and we speak on their behalf, our plea is for the government to recognize, not only the government, but for the public to recognize that these people operate in silence, and they are the gatekeepers, they are the caretakers of our country. And in recent times, you would have seen increases to the hours that policemen will work. You would have heard the Attorney General speaking of backlog and payments that were promised to the police services. All right. However, you would have seen snippets of outstanding payments for prison officers, and for those prison officers, in some cases, acting as far back as 2 and 3 years ago, who are still yet to receive acting allowances or allowances that were promised during the time of COVID for working extremely long hours protecting the people of this country. And these are things that are not normally said in the open because of love for job and love for country. And far too often, they go beyond the call. And this is why you will hear things like flexibility allowance. Same thing for nurses and police, flexibility allowance, because this is an allowance that is paid after they have completed their work hours. All right. In terms of public holidays, they work the public holidays, and they are now placed in positions where, as it has mentioned, where it depends on the availability of staff, if there are shortages, whatever. And in most cases, they're not able to receive these LUDEs within good order. And what we are saying, because these good gentlemen or women who are devoted to country are willing to give up their time from their families in most circumstances, it is only fair that they be compensated or be given an option of compensation for the time that they give to serve this country. And that's all we are saying. We're not asking for anything. They have not asked for anything much, but to be recognized based on what not only is in law, but what we consider to be the standard practices. And that is all that these members of the protected services and nurses are asking for, to be duly recognized and be compensated accordingly, so that they feel good and they're able to help their family. Because time, and all of us know, when it comes to public holidays, and time spent away from family, these guys work hard. And any day given, they are upset, they are glad for. But because, as I said, for love of country and duty, they come out and they give up their time without any consideration for what we are asking here for today.
And just along this line, I wanted you to comment on, well, with Carrie Festival coming up, we know that the security personnel and maybe nurses, I don't know, will be out in their number.
Indeed.
So I just wanted you to maybe make a call to the government where payment for these days or extra hours is concerned.
Well, I mean, we've always made that call, but today I want to make a special appeal to the government of Barbados, as a matter of incentive, and we've seen it happen over and over, where we Quapova have just gone, and now we are here at Carrie Festa, and these guys, especially these persons who work within these organizations, they remain committed to their task, they remain committed to self, they remain committed to loyalty of country. And today we are asking the government of Barbados, to make sure of the promises and the assurances to these loyal men, especially in the police force, especially to the nurses. And I also want to say, especially to the doctors of Barbados. That is important, because without them, without these people, what we are asked, tourism is our business. And we need to be able to give persons visiting these shores the assurance that security is in place and that health and the care of individuals and tourists alike are important, and these things are in place.
Hey, listen up, listen up. Listen up. National Trade Unit Center, working for the good of all. National Trade Unit Center, don't worry, we got control. We working with CTUSAB.